Hi, I'm here to ask a question. What happens when you find out that you have cancer in both breasts and you're in your 40s, 40? What happens? Do you think it's a death sentence? Are you upset about it? Is it a bad thing? Not if it's a Tig Notaro strain of cancer. If it's that strain of cancer, you say on the record that you love having cancer. You say you're happy you had cancer, and you actually are stressed out. You tell somebody, a newspaper article, that suddenly there are people in your audience, middle-aged, pear-shaped housewives in your audience who want to know about your miraculous breeze of a cancer. So, what am I saying? She lied about, Tig Notaro lied about having cancer. She never had cancer. Am I the only one who knows this? No. Other people do know it. Other people suspect it. Entertainment Weekly recently just canned a whole bunch of interviews she did with, her shtick is she gets famous people to talk to, so people don't know who she is, they know who they are. Gone without an explanation, because it's coming down, but it's coming down too slowly. So let me just tell you why. And you're going to say, oh, why? I hate her. Yes, I hate her. Why? Because I know she's a sociopath. I know she's a pathological liar. But my story's much better and much bigger than this thing. But to understand my story and to understand what a humongous liar she is, then you have to kind of know this right now. So I'm going to just start off with her treatments. Before we get to the incredible, improbable story of how she even found out she had cancer, the treatments are gold. So let's get to the treatments. Now, she finds out she has cancer, and the first thing she tells, and she's, she talks and talks, she can't keep her story straight, she has chemo. That makes sense, right? She has chemo. She tells Amy Schumer, who takes her in because she's very sick. She has cancer. She wants to take care of her. She's a good soul. She takes her in, Amy Schumer. She tells Amy Schumer, I'm getting chemo. Okay. She seems not to be getting chemo. She has her hair. She leaves Amy Schumer's house. Amy Schumer says, someone asked her what happened to the famous cancer survivor, Tig Notaro. She says she left. She ended up being healthier than all of us. So she leaves with chemo. So we have chemo. After that, she is on her podcast talking about health. She's a health food, raw foodist, all that. And at the very end, they're kind of like, well, what are you doing for your treatments? And she says, I am going to do natural treatments. So after chemo, 2 breasts, stage 2, lymph activity, tumors all over the place, it's going to be now natural treatments. Okay, let's flash forward 9 months later. She is talking to Glamour UK. Now, why she's in Glamour UK, I have no idea. Glamorous? You decide. She's in Glamour UK, and she tells the interviewer there that right after her mastectomy, right after her surgery, she began taking hormone shots. And she's been taking hormone shots all this time. All right. 1 month later, she tells Claire Black of The Independent in England, across the pond, maybe Claire Black won't fact check, no one really cares enough to go into this story. She tells Claire Black that she's taking radiotherapy. She's taking radiotherapy. There's no hormone shots, no chemo, no natural. Now it's radiotherapy. And the radiotherapy is the only time in this journey of cancer that she has not loved having cancer, because it slowed her down. She previously hadn't missed a beat, but now it's slowing her down, and she hasn't been doing as much stand-up lately because of the radiotherapy. Go look at her schedule, which she's a rabid self-promoter. It's not hard to figure it out. The girl has not missed one appearance, or one that she's traveled here, she's traveled there. She is milking this cancer thing for all it's worth. And someone wrote, Tig, girl, slow down. We're worried about you. So that's it. So radiotherapy, now that's interesting. But let's go 1 little month later. 1 month later, we have her talking to Peter Holmes of the Nerdists. And what are we now? We're going to sit down the Nerdists. We're going to talk about how healthy we are again, how we hate people. We actually dislike people who defoul their bodies with diet soda. No irony detected there. And how she would never drink diet soda, how healthy she is. And at the very end, again, we have Peter Holmes, I guess, has to ask, so what are you doing, Tig, about your treatments? Well, I am going to start hormone shots in a week. All right, so remember the hormone shots? She's starting in a week. It's a year and a half later, but we just had it right after the surgery. All right, so isn't that amazing? I think it is. Let's quickly talk about her, how she found out, because I thought that was the best until I saw the Glamour UK thing. So how'd she find out? All right, and I'm sure people with cancer can relate to this story too. She found out she had a lump in her breast. She went to the doctor for her lump in her breast, and her doctor, her regular doctor, she calls her, said, "This is not a concern to me. This is not a concern. Just go home, go on your business, forget about the lump in your breast." So she went back. She really forgot about it because then she got sick. And she got C. diff and she got pneumonia. Bad times for Miss Notaro. She's in the hospital for about a week here or a week there. Doctors in and out. They can't figure out what's wrong with her. She says they tested me every 5 minutes and not one of them came across this lump, gave her a breast exam. Nothing with this lump. Now, maybe they're incredibly incompetent. All of the, Cedars-Sinai is a bunch of, keystone, if there's such a thing as keystone doctors. But they didn't find it. You, women, I'm asking you, you're lying there, you're sick. You had a lump you were concerned enough to go a year before. You're not going to mention the fact that you're lying there and your lump is still there. It's there, doctor, some doctor somewhere. No, never mentions it. All right, so what happens? She leaves the hospital without telling anybody, without remembering about the lump, and she goes, and it is 7 minutes, and she goes she's okay now, she's getting better from all these diseases. She tries to get the thing about C. diff to NPR, to Ira Glass, and even Ira Glass, who is known to pretty much put anybody on with a weird enough story, he doesn't. He's too depressing. It doesn't work for him. And she says, I'm so isolated. No one understands about C. diff, but they do understand about cancer. I mean, that's what she said. I'm not saying that. So, big light bulb moment, but where was I? Oh, so she goes back to her, so after all this, she's better, and she goes back to her, let's call her she says the regular doctor. The regular doctor says again, this does not concern me. Still doesn't concern me. Sorry, 1 second. She goes to her regular doctor. She has a checkup again because she takes care of herself, right? And after the checkup is over, this is out of her own mouth. She says, side note, the lump's still there. Side note, the lump's still there. And then the regular doctor says, it still doesn't concern me, but, you should take a mammogram because you're of age now. Let's just be careful. So she goes in mammogram, and guess what? Because of that doctor, a whole year has passed. It's spread to both breasts now. It's really bad. She puts tumors all over the place. She doesn't have much time left. All right, so I'm not going to even ask you again and again, would you, come on, people. So I have one more thing for you, and I just kind of, want to make this short. We have one more thing, how she got on the stage. Because Louis T.K. tweeted this incredible, brave act of getting on stage and saying, I'm dying of cancer. We have, again, a lot of different versions. Tig, lots of different versions. Notaro, that should be her name. We have, she tells this girl, Kira Hesse writes in a blog that 3 days, she got on stage and said, 3 days ago I found out I had cancer. But according to Ira Glass, NPR, she told that hours before she went on the stage, she found out she had cancer. To Louis C.K., a day before. Louis C.K. says that she came up to Louis C.K. just before she went on stage and said, Louis, that's what he said, Louis, I found out I had cancer and I'm not going to make it. That's what she said. So, Louis, which one is it? Now, to another magazine, it was hours, again, before, okay. To The Guardian, it was 4 days before. To another magazine, it was a week before. To a guy named Andrew Goldman, it was 9 days before. To Huffington Post, 2 days before. And to Terry Gross of Fresh Air, it was a week before or maybe a day before. Now, does Terry Gross kind of question this? Well, all she said on one podcast was, well, this was supposed to be, Terry Gross said, well, Tig, this was supposed to be a journey, but I guess you're fine. So I have a feeling that she's suspicious too. So let's just end with a quote from Tig Notaro. Yeah, this is the quote. This is from before she was stricken. She said, I don't know the truth. This is her quote from her blog, pre-cancer. I don't know the truth. I make things up, and I make them up as I go along. I make them what I want them to be, and I get away with it because I'm so adorable. And you could look down, and you could look at the links and everything. Everything I'm saying is out of that preacher's mouth. I'm not making it up. So, wow. You know, she's getting your money, and she's keeping it up. So, you know, if you're interested in, I mean, I'm sure you're not interested in her, but if you're interested in cancer scams and hoaxes, this is a really good one. And I guess I'll be back. So, God bless.